there it goes.
What's up, guys? This is Andrew Smersek with Combat Art Training. I am joined today by Garry Marr of TREMIS Dynamics. We're going to be talking about some of the classes he has going on, and then we're going to talk about one of our favorite subjects, and that is military NPCs, veteran NPCs. I love talking about NPCs. Well, I don't. I'm mainly just bitching whenever I say something about it. But there's things that need to be said. So we'll get into that later. Stick around for it. Now, Garry has a pretty exciting class coming up that is going to involve a lot of cool guy stuff. And I don't think it's on the range. It's mostly in the woods. But Garry, why don't you go ahead and tell them about Wolverines?
So the Wolverine Warfare class is something I had been toying the idea with for a little while. And probably 2 months ago, Calvin and Jay were up here. It was right after the muster. And they hung around for a couple days afterwards. And Calvin said, hey, man, you and Jay need to come up with a class and you need to do it together. And you need to come up with it right now. And by the way, we're going south. And they got in the truck and they left. So Calvin and I were texting, and then Calvin would relay to Jay, and we decided we were going to do this class. Wolverine Warfare, Jay and I are running it, and it is a fully immersive class. You're going to spend 2.5 full days in the field, as we'll call it. There's a live fire range there, so there'll be some live fire as well. Essentially, I think the tagline for it kind of encompasses more what the class is about than the title, and that is partisan operations in an occupied homeland. So if you found yourself as the partisans in some place where another country had taken control, what kind of skills and tactics would you work on to be a good partisan? And so we decided to build a class around it, and we've got some guest instructors coming up to do small blocks of instruction about things that they're more knowledgeable in than we are, such as drone evasion, austere medicine for a team, some other things I won't talk about on the internet, building a rapport with the local intelligence network, things that you would do to maximize the propaganda effect, and some cool shooty shit. And we're going to it's going to be nonstop. Like, we're not just camping in the woods. Like, the class will actually be running for the full duration.
Now, for the drone part, who's coming to teach that part?
I'm not sure if we're making an announcement on it yet until that instructor says we can.
Okay, that's fine. I just...
You know the person.
Stuff. Very cool. And then we will be doing together Proving Grounds, Combat Art Training, and TREMIS Dynamics. And then we'll be doing Killing Fields, which is like Proving Grounds, but more advanced. Yeah. And then we'll be doing The Art of the Bad Guy. So Proving Grounds, I've run it already, and I've been testing a bunch of drills, and Garry also has a whole bunch of drills that he's been testing and doing with students. But that is basically, you get into like 50 gunfights in a day. So every different scenario that would be happening mid-fight, we try to make that happen, from as simple as both of you are static, drawing and trying to get a hit, to a dude's using cover and another dude's moving and bounding from cover. You're both behind cover, like a whole bunch of stuff. Heavy emphasis on movement, and also the big part is that you can be really good on paper, really good, but even an airsoft gun will make people get super excited and things will fall apart. So the big part of it is stress inoculation. That was kind of when I was thinking about how to do this class originally, that's what I was thinking about, was making a stress inoculation class. And I was like, Garry, I got this cool idea. Let me tell you about it. And he's like, yeah, that it already exists. I've been doing like basically the same thing. So we're going to
that tells me my advertising sucks.
Yeah.
Because even my friends don't know.
Garry was just telling me about how in the future he's going to make a video, and I was like, I made 2 just now. He's like, yeah, Max told me he just made 5.
Yeah, and I'm over here planning to make 1 next week.
But yeah, so it's an opportunity to do 3 days of force on force. Again, proving grounds, it's basically different scenarios you would be in a gunfight. And then advanced proving grounds is we're going to build on that and focus more on the skills involved and some other stuff planned for it. And then Are the Bad Guy, it's more like, all right, you're going to be the good guy. Go over there. Don't listen to what we're saying. Put on headphones so you can't hear. And then, all right, you're the bad guy. You're trying to do this to him. Come up with a plan. And then the good guy has to react to it. So that gives you the bad guy's perspective, which is hard to get. And then whoever's the good guy gets a totally new scenario every time. Because like when you do scenario driven classes, like the fight or like what's the one that you have called?
Adeptus Pistol.
Adeptus Pistol. They're not trying to burn you down in there.
No.
Are they the bad guy? You're both going to fight as hard as possible.
Yep. And then what's great is after they do that run, they'll get some coaching from other good guys than bad guys. Like, so we'll be able to build on that. It won't just be, hey, we ran 45 scenarios and the instructors just told us fight and cease fire. Like, yeah. I'm looking forward to being able to help people be better bad guys so that the good guys can learn to be better good guys. Because I think we're going to have some dudes there that are pretty nefarious in how they think. And so I believe that we'll have a great experience on, when someone says, I got a plan to be a good bad guy, and they run it, and then other guys go, man, I've been wargaming this for the last 30 years. And here's how I was thinking we could do it. And like growing that out of the, man, all these guys here are fucking devious. Then great. Now, how do we defend against that? So I think there's going to be a lot of coolness to the art of the bad guy.
Yeah, like I've been doing gunfight club here, so that's like force on force. We do some work drills, but there's also it's kind of based on who is there and the things that I want to run with the students. So today we ran some new drills. They proved to be effective. Some stuff I actually got from Sonny, who was in the chat. Hello, sir.
Wasn't even looking at the chat. I like that.
But we ran some new stuff. And one of the things I like about doing that too, is you see how different people will come up with different solutions. And they also have different problems. Like I've never seen someone walk that way, crossing legs every step. And I'm like, what are you doing? And try to explain it in simple terms again to work on it. But then it's like, okay, you need to like put 2 2x4s on the ground when you get home and just keep 1 foot on each one. So you stop crossing your feet when you're going one direction, just like, I don't know, that is the cool thing, especially when we ran proving grounds attacks for response and just seeing different ways people would move into cover, the way they would do their movement, like especially you see training scars come out in those classes because when you're at a range, you're confined to the berm.
Yep.
When you're shooting the bullets. And then if there's a bunch of people in the class, now you can't really move as much. So that's where the force on force comes in. I also encourage everyone get like get an airsoft pistol, set up a target. If you have to do it inside your house, cool. If you can do it in your yard, way better. But like do some actual movement, like make that a part of your dry practice.
It could encompass all your dry practice and you'll still see vast improvements when you pressure test it against a resisting opponent.
Yes. Now, then Garry is going to be coming to Florida. What was it, April that you're coming? I forget.
I'm opening my calendar right now so I don't say something erroneous.
Yes, I should have had mine open also.
I believe it is March 1st. March 1st and March 8th. So 2 Saturdays in a row. And the March 1st is kind of going to run into the morning of the 2nd. Like it's a long day. that is for the Garry Marr Masterclass, which you don't have to certainly be a masterclass anything to participate, but I tried to use the vein of how those other video things that you can buy, like the masterclass, like learn how to make a movie like Steven Spielberg and shit, and it's basically how I would put together a practice regime for myself, and then some cool drills that you don't get to do in class most of the time. So that's kind of the gist behind it. I bet you we probably have a masterclass alumni in the chat who will tell me that's totally bullshit and that's not what it is, but that's kind of how I envisioned it going. And then I don't know, what's the following week? Shooting a moving workshop, both pistol and carbine.
Very cool. So are those ones on the website yet? Or
yes, they are on. Okay. The only place they are not is on my. If you go to the website and click calendar, I have to manually enter everything in the calendar, and I put it on my Google Calendar first, which is clickable in the website. There's a big link at the bottom of every page that says Google Calendar, because some people don't like looking at the website calendar; they wanted a Google Calendar. And then I put them all on Bulletin, and I ran out of time before this Texas trip to manually enter them all in my calendar. But the sign up and shit is all on the website, and it is on Bulletin, and it is on the Google Calendar. So once I have a free day, I'll get them added onto my calendar as well. So they will be there for folks.
Is Wolverine Workshop Wolverine Warfare on the calendar or on the website yet?
It is, and it is. Had we not, Jay and I talked last weekend. He was up here in PA, and we added 4 more slots to it to max it out to 16, and how we were going to accommodate 16 students. It had already 12 of the slots are already gone, so it is not likely to remain full or remain empty or have an opening for very much longer.
Right on. And I'm a
Colt Manny jumped in and said that's not what the master class is. It's all bullshit.
I'm gonna try to jump in there to be Op 4. I never got to be Op 4 in the Marine Corps for like anything, so I want to do that. Very cool. All right, and then for the Force on Force stuff that I'm gonna do with Garry, that will be on the website soon. We've just been both busy on stuff, but that's coming to PA. Now, the thing you've all been waiting for: veteran NPCs, military NPCs. So, all right, an NPC, a non-playable character, as in they say stuff like without thought. They just believe stuff, and they will get mad if they see stuff that is different. That's kind of like what I define an NPC as. Do you agree, Garry?
Yes. Well, I mean, we got to the same spot. I just viewed them as someone who didn't think on their own. So same. They're repeating because they're not thinking on their own.
Now, for everyone who's going to get mad at us insulting the military, we're both veterans also.
Yep. So, sometimes I'm embarrassed to say so because fellow veterans make us look retarded.
I know. It's like one of those things where it's like I got first, it was like I was tired of the thank you for your service thing. I was like, you don't gotta thank me, like thank someone else that like was in Vietnam or something,
Yep.
And then it was the whole like I was gonna serve, but then blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, I don't care. You don't need to. Like,
makes no difference to me.
Yeah. Are you not a rapist or a meth smoker? Like, cool. Like, like, because those are in the military too, just so you know.
Indeed.
And now it's gotten to the point where I'm almost like, I don't want to have that like bro vet discussion where it's like, oh, I was in the Marine Corps too, and blah blah. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about that.
Yep.
And so
I have to admit, I do have a license plate on my truck that says U.S. Navy veteran. It's gotten me out of 2 tickets, so I totally feel now like my time in service was well worth it.
Yeah, No, I have the same thing.
Yep.
I totally agree.
I
It's
get
smart.
a free meal on Veterans Day at Applebee's and a discount at Lowe's. Like, I actually tell the lady at Lowe's, because every time you use the discount, I'm sure this is part of the script. They put your thing in and go, oh, yep, he's signed up for the veteran program, and then they say, thank you for your service. And I'm like, I did it for the discount because I don't know what else to say. I'm not saying you're welcome.
All right. So, what are some veteran NPC sayings that you hear?
Well, the one that fucking sticks in me the most is any sentence that starts with, as a special forces master sergeant, and then anything that comes out after that, I don't give a fuck about. Unless we were talking about what it takes to become a special forces master sergeant.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I had to go through this qualification and this much time and rate, or whatever they call it in the Army. Okay, well, now great, that's viable to the question being asked. But most of the time, I'm about to talk out my ass, and I'm using this as a preface so that you won't think I'm talking out my ass. Like, as a special forces master sergeant, I only use 89 unleaded. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Like, why would your old job have anything to do with what gas you put in your car or what fill in the blank? And that's the problem is they use that as their crutch for every fill in the blank statement that they make. That's the one that gets me the most.
Okay, yeah.
Or it doesn't have to be a special forces master sergeant. It could be, whatever.
As an infantryman or as a Army veteran. Yeah. I that was what I got a lot on YouTube. It was always infantry guys. And the funny thing was, like, because I don't talk about being Marine Corps infantry that much on YouTube because it's not relevant. It's not the thing I'm talking about. So then I got a ton of comments where people were getting mad at me for being a civilian and shooting guns. And I'm like, well, I mean, I did do this, and then they got to the point where I was getting accused of stealing valor. And I'm like, I didn't even say I did anything that crazy or cool. Like, I was like, I was Marine Corps infantry and I went to these places. That's all I did,
Yeah.
So, and that was like the real annoying thing was, like, it really pisses me off when I see veterans talking shit on civilians for training. Firstly, because, like, what was the purpose of your service? Was it so you could get out and shit talk civilians?
Because you fucking are one now.
Yeah. But it's like that was your goal, is shit talk on other people. But also, like, what's the problem with that? Like, how did we become a country in the first place? Was it dudes that served for 20 years that did all the fighting, or was it dudes that, like, enlisted and then a week later they're on the battlefield, or they just walked down the road until they saw British people and started shooting at them?
Yeah, a fucking farmer who said, oh, well, I got a musket.
Yes. Very untrained people too.
Yeah.
For, like, all the training that we focus on and all the skills and everything, that this country was founded by just dudes who were like, nah, I'm going to go kill them.
And they're, by far and large, whenever you hear about any awesome military success, it either comes down to, on a larger scale, it's our country's ability to logistically produce weapons of war. But on a smaller scale, it's dudes that learn shit before they got in the military. Like, oh, that guy was really good at this, so he became, he did awesome in this place, in this conflict. You're like, yeah, but he didn't know that at the fucking Army or the Marines. Like, he got that from being a fucking backwoods boy from Kentucky. Like, it wasn't the fucking lowest common denominator training that he got, after he raised his hand.
Now, that's a good segue. Lowest common denominator training. So what do you mean by that?
Well, if you look at the pool of people that the military has to teach, Um, there are some folks that are squared away and they're going to succeed at whatever they do, and they happen to be in the military. There are a lot of motherfuckers that they're like, look, I'm healthy and I don't know how to do anything else, so I'm going to join this and skate by with the minimum amount that I have to do to, not get kicked out. You have to train to that second guy, the guy who's like, I didn't even want to be here. I just wanted the college money. So the training isn't going to be geared towards the fella who wants to be such a success that he can be considered the best at this job. It's got to be geared towards the guy who's like, how long do we have to be here? So they're not even aspiring to make the best of the best, generally speaking, in the military.
Right. Like there's a difference between like SF Rangers and all that. Like they literally get the people who want to be there and won't quit.
Yeah.
And then they pick out based on personality type even after that. But yeah, Jacob Peterson, Excess Knife and Tool, and his channel used to be called the Preppers Bunker Outdoors. You shouldn't have changed it, but you changed the name. He described it as like you basically have like four dudes who just want to go home and get drunk and get off work right now, teaching like 100 dudes who just want to go home and get off work right now and get drunk.
And they'd already done that, but there's some other dude somewhere else who will yell at them if they get caught.
Yeah. so it's like that to me has been like one of the best parts about training as a civilian is it's like everyone wants to be here.
Yeah, they
should.
They worked, say a dude makes $20 an hour. I don't know what the average civilian student, what he boils down to, because I've seen ones that make minimum wage and I've seen guys that are fucking gazillionaires in classes. But if you just pick a number, and we'll use 20 because I can do math with $20 an hour, and he takes a $500 class. Motherfucker had to work half a week to pay just for the tuition. Then he'd take 2 days off of work to travel, like Friday to get there and a Monday to get home. So he lost 2 days' wages, or he burned up 2 days' vacation. He bought $300 worth of ammo, which at $20 an hour is like another, 530 hour, however fucking many hours it takes to buy a case of ammo. Like he invested all that just to come to class. Like that motherfucker gives a shit. Private Schmuckatelli, E0, nothing. That dude does not care. He's like, I can't believe they're making me go to this school.
Yep. And
I know, because I was there too. Like I was some days I was that guy.
Yeah, I totally was too. And it made me lose out on opportunities. But one thing I did frequently see, like one thing that drove me nuts when I was in the Marine Corps was like, I had a saying I came up with was all training value is lost. Because they will just add a stupid thing into what we're doing. And then we like lose all training value. Like it could be, we're without ammo, we're practicing buddy rushes and bounding, right? And so we would yell, bang, 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 bang. Then the officers were like, no, we need you to count so that you know when you're about to run out. So then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. And then Gary's next to me and he goes 1, 2, 3, 4. And I go 5, 6. And then all of a sudden Gary should go 5, 6, but he goes 7, 8. And then I go 9, 10, because that's what the fuck happens. Yeah. It just makes it stupid. And it's like, no. Reloads are just a thing that happens, and it's a thing you can feel that's coming on when you're shooting. We don't need to add counting out loud to this and counting our rounds while we rush machine guns.
The sad part is that that fucking O2 who's running that training event could go, I'm just going to walk up and tap a guy on the foot when he's empty. Like, there's some signal that I'm going to give you, and that means you ain't got no bullets, and, act accordingly. Like, and it could just be random. He could just yell, Jones. And Jones like, oh, that means I ran out of bullets. I'll simulate whatever the fuck, I'll simulate a reload, yell cover, or whatever they had you do. But they didn't go that far. They just went, you count. That'll be easier. And you're like, okay, now we're doing a bunch of shit I hope to never repeat if my life's in danger.
Now, So that, yeah. So the standard of training is not that high. And like one thing they would say is like brilliance in the basics. We need to be great at the basics. Like, yes, you do, but also like I don't believe that basics is the thing that's going to make you more effective. Like it's called basics, right? So
It's pretty basic.
like a dude who can work cover like a master pianist can play the piano, right? That's the dude you want to be, not a dude who just move to cover, jam gun against cover, shoot at bad guy, right? And it's kind of going off in a different tangent, but and it's a thing that's still in the civilian world too, but it's like there has to be levels of progression. Like you have to evolve to get better. It can't just be, oh, we're going to go back to uh reloads today and we're going to practice that for a week. Like what, because what we would do is every time we get a new boot drop, well, actually it wouldn't even be that. It would just be like every deployment cycle, we go back to the very, very, very beginning thing. And then we go up and we don't really advance the things we're doing on a squad level. We just do those things on a squad level, but with another squad and then eventually the whole battalion. So it's not like our individual skills are even increasing. It's just adding more people. And that's one of the things too, that like, I feel like people don't get is like, it's not that the military is highly skilled or like, oh, every Marine a rifleman and, oh, well, we shoot out to 500 yards. So we're so good at shooting. No, it's like, they give them a very basic level of understanding, very basic level of training, and then they give them a lot of technology and more people, and we're able to throw money at it. Like you said, it's the really good soldiers are generally due to learn something beforehand. It's not that they got so much better while they're in.
Yeah, or if they got better while they're in, they went outside the system to get it. That they say, hey, I'm gonna take leave and I'm gonna go to fucking Thunder Ranch for a week.
Right.
Oh, well, fucking awesome.
And it's like, because you and me, we're trying to make the best possible class every class. And there's no one in charge of us besides our students in a way. You know, there's no one in charge of us telling us like, no, we're going to stick to the old way. We're not going to change it. And so there's like a lot of things that are not going to change for a long time. And that's because of bureaucracy.
Yep. They don't even know who can make the change.
Right.
Like there could be guys going, we need to change this. And they don't even know how. They don't know who to go to get it changed.
Well, it's also there is a good old boys club, and also it's just like the way they perceive you. So you could have the perfectly right answer, but the person in charge doesn't like you or doesn't like your answer or doesn't want to look stupid. So they double down on the old thing.
Yep. Now I know a fella, acquaintances, I should say. I wouldn't say we're friends. And he went to a very prestigious military training course. I'm not going to mention it by name because it's secondhand information. He told it to me. I wasn't there. But he says, hey, you know how I always do when I come out to practice? I spend like 3 magazines of just draw and single shot. Yeah. He goes, now I do like 3 magazines of draw and double taps or hammer pairs or whatever the fuck someone's calling it this week. I'm like, mm-hmm. He said, so when I went to that class, day 1 was draw and single shot. And I was like, and then you went home? He was like, no, we did a whole training day, like 900 rounds of draw and single shot because we had to master the basics. And I was like, man, this school's pretty fucking like supposed to be awesome. He goes, I know. And he was like bragging it up that they've spent 900 rounds or something, some retarded number on a day of draw and single shot. And I thought, what a fucking waste of resources. You have 900 rounds to blow through ammo in a day and you wasted it doing draws and single shots. That's 8 hours of training time. What the fuck? But that's that's the military for you. Nobody could see how to maximize the value of what resources they had, so they just filled it with, oh, we'll just have them draw in single shot, and we'll just claim that it's mastering the basics. I was upset because I was like, man, my taxpayer dollars bought that 900 rounds, and had I bought me 900 rounds, I could have got really good at something else in that 2 days of shooting it.
Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about with veteran NPCs is I call it Uncle Rico syndrome. So when dudes talk about how badass they are, but it's based off of who they were, what they used to do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you can take this as me bitching about veterans commenting on my videos, but it's like, that's one of the things I see is like, they'll talk about how badass they are, but then today they're not carrying their gun. They haven't shot their gun in a long ass time. They never carry a gun anyways. They do not carry medical, and they have not tried to learn anything in at least the past decade.
Yeah.
They've done other stuff, but they have not tried to get better. They just say, oh no, I was a good shot in the army or whatever. And that's where the discussion ends. So it's like, and I think about that, and I like think about some of the students I have and some of the students that I've trained alongside in other people's classes. And I'm like, these people are fucking way better. And honestly, if I had to gamble and be like, all right, if I'm going to go into a 4-versus-4 gunfight, do I want to take 4 dudes from the Marine Corps, or do I want to take 4 dudes that I've been with in class? And I would say I probably want the 4 dudes in class. Now there are different things we could, think about along with that. But the simple thing is that the 4 dudes that I was with in class are probably carrying their guns.
Yeah. They came to the gunfight armed. Well, most dudes, most cats that no matter what fucking branch of the military, what MOS they had, they didn't carry a gun at work every day, which meant they probably also didn't carry a gun anywhere on a lot of days.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, hey, I'm going to teach a class on CCW stuff. I'm like, motherfucker, you didn't carry a gun for 20 years in the Army. They issued you a rifle, and then at the end of the fucking day, you signed it back in, and then somebody else took it. Like, I'd rather take a fucking class from a dude that carried I'd rather take it from an undercover cop who was like, yeah, I had to fucking smuggle a gun everywhere I went for the last fucking 5 years as I was buying drugs from, other fucking jack wagons. Because that motherfucker at least carried a gun every day.
And on that note too, because like people have gone on me for the videos I made about not unloading guns, and it happened to me recently too, where dude's like, man, that's I love how old school that is. I'm like, here, man, check it out. First thing he does, and he's a Marine. First thing he does, takes the mag, and I go, no, don't unload it. And then, and I'm like, what are you doing? like I fucking handed it to you loaded. Now, I didn't say in the beginning, look, do not check the condition, do not unload it, don't touch anything that manipulates the action or the magazine, and probably don't touch the damn trigger, since I have to say that, Yeah. But that's another thing is like, okay, I have had many veterans that will talk shit on that, or they'll talk shit on like civilian training in general. And it's like, dude, you weren't even allowed to carry a fucking loaded gun on base.
Yeah.
Like when you did use it, you had to have another adult check that you properly unloaded it, because you can't just be trusted with live ammo. And Jay has a story about one of his buddies got in trouble for having some ammo in the barracks, and it went all the way up to a court martial. And they're like, why why did you think you could have this in your room? It's like, well, if I'm not allowed to have this in my room, who is? Like, if I can't be trusted, who is?
Yeah, like then no one can have ammo. You motherfucker gave me a machine gun.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and I get it, because when I was in, I definitely was full of ego and thought we were the best, and everyone else is dumb compared to us, and blah blah blah. But it's like, you think you're the tip of the spear, but you're not allowed to carry a personal gun on base.
Yeah,
you can't. Yeah, we're gonna send you into harm's way. You're gonna be trusted with other people's lives. However, if you fucking carry a gun on base, we're gonna send your ass to Leavenworth. Like what is that?
We'll at minimum you'll have an E4 to E3 story.
Wait, is that how you got busted down?
Yeah.
Carrying a gun on base?
It's a long, ridiculous story. But yeah, that was the gist of it. You can't have weapons on a base. I was like, we have nuclear submarines here. Like we could detonate another country from right here, and I can't be trusted with. Well, essentially, the argument was I couldn't be trusted with a razor knife. I didn't have a razor knife, but like it went down to that low of, this is a utility knife for splicing wires. You can't have that.
Now, next one, I know this one's one of your favorites, but I've had where I would get in an argument with a dude, and someone would be like, "You need to respect them for their service," or people brag about their service. It's not service; it's a job.
Yeah,
like there is such a thing as service. Like, hey, man, like the guys that fought in World War II. Like, I'm not talking shit on them.
No,
right? Like there is such a thing. But there's also a lot of people that wanted to wear cool guy clothes. I was one of them. I wanted to just be a cool guy. Straight up. When I got out of high school, I said, I am not going to college. I am not working a normal job. I want to do something cool. I want to either be in a touring death metal band or go to Afghanistan. I did not have a drummer or a band at all. So I went to Afghanistan. But
there you go.
But that was just the thing. It was like, I just wanted to do cool guy stuff. And like you said, some guys are just like, I just want to go to college. Right. Yep. So trying to shove like service in people's faces.
Man, it never fails though. The people that press that, thank me for my service, usually are the ones that provided the least amount of service. And the fellas who gave the most, like the guy that's missing 3 limbs, doesn't bring it up. Mm-hmm. He doesn't ever say, look what I gave you people. Like that never happens. Never happens. The fella who did fuck all, like that, the governor from Minnesota guy.
Waltz.
Yes, that's his name. I think somebody referenced that you have a sign with his name on it in your yard earlier in the chat. But like, why are you bringing it up? Like, you didn't do shit. I didn't do shit, which is why I only ever bring it up like for personal gain. That's a joke. But like getting out of the ticket or the discount at Lowe's. If you didn't offer,
you get pulled over and you're like, man,
look what I gave you.
Sorry, it's so hard to drive.
I mean, I am going to say that, the one time that I got pulled over and a fella said, "Shipmate, you know how fast you were going?" I was like, "Oh, he saw the plate. I'm going to play this up as much as I can." Oh, it was for, we have a safety inspection in Pennsylvania, and it expires every year. There's a sticker on the window, and it was expired. I was actually on the way to drop the truck off to get inspected, but it was like 4 to 6 months out of inspection. And he was like, I pulled you over. And I'm like, well, I guess it's probably for that. And, but he called me shipmate. So I was like, haha, he had seen it. He's like, it's 6 months out of inspection. And I said, well, I knew it was, as soon as I got back in country, it was something I was going to have to take care of. And he was like, oh, okay. All right. Well, as long as there's no warrants, I'm going to send you on your way. And then when I relayed the story, everyone was like, bro, you've been out of the Navy for like 17 years. I was like, man, I've been out of the country. And, it's something that now that I'm in the country, I know I need to take care of. So, I mean, I played that up in that aspect. But I also think that everybody who has a DD-214 would play that up to get out of a ticket. Like we would all play anything up to get out of a ticket. But that's not the thing I'm talking about. We're talking about the fella who doesn't want to wait for his free meal at Applebee's because, well, I served. Okay, well, the lady over there is going to serve your drinks. She's busy, so fucking wait. And the hats. Like if your hat doesn't say Vietnam veteran or Korea veteran, I don't wear the hat. Like don't wear it. And then I see dudes with a hat that says, U.S. Air Force veteran, and they're scrambled eggs on the bill. And I was like, fuck, I don't even, like, nobody wanted to wear those when they came on hats that were required to have them. Why are you wearing fucking scrambled eggs? Because that dude wanted to have some sort of elevated status over other veterans. Well, when I was in as a captain, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Or whatever you would call that in the Marine Corps, like a colonel. Or I don't even know if colonels wear fucking scrambled eggs on their hat, but somebody does. Not just NRA instructors. Dude, I got to get a hat with scrambled eggs on it now. There are people going, I don't know what you're talking about, but the little yellow things on the bill.
Well, I would be super confused as to when they are wearing them outside of like fancy uniform day,
Yeah, I don't. That was so far above my pay grade. It was something that wasn't something I cared about while I was in.
So one thing I was talking with Don Edwards about it, how like it's crazy that I'll have veterans commenting that the thing they were doing was better than what we're doing, like sports, for instance, the slap, pull, observe, release, tap forward, assist, shoot. And I literally make a video showing that it never fucking, like, if it does work, that just means you didn't load your gun, like that's all that means, really. It's like, other than that, it's probably never going to work.
Yeah.
And I literally demonstrate on a video, and then a veteran will be like, no, you're wrong. It does work. And I'll be like, fucking post a video of it working, please.
Yeah. Well, you didn't even shoot your fucking gun, let alone have a malfunction that you fix with sports.
But then, we were talking about it, and it's like, I get it because, I was that guy at 1.2. I was a veteran NPC. Absolutely. And that's, I guess, a part of the reason why I hate them so much now. But,
well, I mean, when you're young and stupid, and
yeah,
like you're young and stupid. It doesn't matter if you were, you and I were veteran NPCs at the time. If we weren't enlisted, we'd have been fast food worker NPCs or, roofer NPCs, because we were young and stupid and thought, well, I know 3 things. And now I think I know, like, I'm a fucking expert.
Right.
I thought I knew all kinds of shit when I was 20 years old. And it turns out none of it was right, including everything I learned in the Navy.
Well, it's like, so the thing that we were talking about, Don and I, was like, they'll convince you that you're a badass with minimal, baseline training.
Yep.
And that's what they need, because like we need you to be convinced that you're indestructible and that you're the best, and then go rush that machine gun through the minefield.
Yep.
And
at the top of that round,
it's cool because you're going to be a hero, and we're going to make a movie about you. And if you are really badass, Fat Electrician will make a great YouTube video on you. And I do love his channel, even though I don't like watching veteran shit. I think his channel is great.
Who is this?
Fat Electrician. You should listen to him on your way to Texas.
He
has a great way of telling stories.
Fat Electrician.
Yep. The
is that with a TH or is it with an F?
F.
So it's old school. And he's on the YouTubes.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm searching him now, so he'll be in my search history.
But then, like, the thing that Jaeger talked about is like, it's hard to train a dude who's only been in one gunfight, because then anything you tell him that wouldn't apply to his one gunfight, like, they won't take seriously. And I was talking about Don with it, and it's like, yeah, like there'll be dudes that did actually do a lot in the Middle East. Like they got in some serious fights. Now in America, again, they don't take it seriously. They're not carrying their gun. They don't practice. They don't try to
Yeah.
learn new shit. They don't do any medical. They don't carry any medical, and it's survivor's bias. Like, no. I'm fine because I've already been through it over there.
Yep.
And I even had that. But it's like a thing that like anyone needs to get past and just realize there's so much to learn and you can't always be better. One thing that Thomas Holybee that was in the chat earlier, he mentioned, I think it came from Sonny originally, but he's like, I don't have 8 guys to cover my fuck ups. Like
Agreed.
you're no longer a cool dude wearing body armor, with a bunch of ammo and a rifle on you and helicopters that will come, if you get fucked. You're a dude at the gas station with a baby in the car. And if the cops do come, they don't know you're the good guy. In fact, you probably should not even consider yourself the good guy anymore.
I agree completely.
And so that perspective too, even when you do see like veterans on the range and the guys who do still take classes, generally they're just taken from SF guys because that's like the guys they looked up to. Yep. That's fine. I'm not whining about that. Like if that's the shit you want to learn, go for it. But thinking about perspective, again, you're wearing body armor, war belt, outer waistband holster, knee pads and shit, and it's totally cool to train with that stuff. And everyone should own that. Like everyone needs to have that stuff because if we do need to put that stuff on, you need to have that shit ready. You need to be used to using it.
Yeah.
But your day-to-day fight, I'm likely to be either dressed the way I am now or completely naked. And so
that would fuck my OODA loop up.
Yeah. Well, that's not I'm gonna get naked. It's that I'm gonna wake up naked, But that's like the thing to think about. And even I taught like a very basic medical class after a gunfight club today. Mm-hmm. And something I talked about was like, there's a lot of guys who are like trauma surgeons, EMTs, medics in the military, all that stuff. And they have a lot of knowledge. But one thing you will find is they suck at applying a tourniquet to themselves. Because in their world, they're going to show up to a scene and take care of other people. And someone will be protecting them while they do it. It's not that they're going to have to finish the fight with this other dude and hopefully he's dead and he's not going to get back up. Like the first guy I ever saw that I thought was dead got right back up. And hopefully there's no one else that's going to come. And by the way, after you render aid to yourself, if it's bad enough, you're going to have to render aid to your wife and your kid.
Yeah.
All that. And you have to still get the fuck out of there if you can.
And you're doing it with what you brought in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Not, I'll get the team bag out and I'll run a line. Like, what?
Yeah. Sonny just commented, back in the day, I thought, thought.
You want me to read that for you?
Yes, I think autocorrect fucked up what he was typing, but I taught a series of classes called. Oh no! I thought a series of classes called non-operator gunfighter would stick. Nope, nobody wanted to be non-operator. And yes, I do suck at reading, actually.
Well, it's because with those glasses you can see through the screen and like you're looking at the central processing unit. And
yeah, they're only $3. All right,
yeah.
So
yeah,
just.
Fuck, I was going to say something about that. I can't remember what it was.
So you were fighting with the shit you brought in your pockets.
Oh, yeah. So it's no different than like what we were talking about before with like the 8 guys. Well, they also, were like, well, I'm used to having a whole emergency room full of shit. And a nurse to say, hey, put pressure on that while I prep these tools. Well, you don't have any tools or a nurse. And you're not even carrying a tourniquet.
Mm-hmm. Like, how many times have you had a medical professional come to take a class from you and they did not bring any medical with them?
Everybody below or above a paramedic. Like, but the paramedic level, the guy's like, "Oh, I got the bag in the car. You want me to bring it over here?"
But they didn't bring it to the range.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's over with my range bag and shit. Like, yeah, you can. You're the medic. If you want to use your bag, bring it over. If not, mine's right here. But yeah, like ER docs. I had a class with a ER doctor and a paramedic, and I think there's probably a nurse and a couple of EMTs in the class. It's a huge class. I worked at tactical response. And I was like, ER doctor, you're the highest level trained guy here. You're in charge if there's a medical emergency. And he pointed at the paramedic and said, that dude is probably better in charge of that than I am. And I was like, oh, this is an odd take, because usually doctors are very, very ego driven. Usually, don't get all pissed if you're a doctor out there. But he said, I haven't put a tourniquet on since medical school. He goes, I cut them off, but I haven't put one on because I don't put tourniquets on in the ER. And he asked the paramedic, goes, how many have you put on recently? And the guy said 3 this week. And I was like, okay, that makes some sense. I'm tracking. And I said, hey, but I do have a question. What do you use to stop bleeding in the ER if you don't use a tourniquet? And he said, oh, I point at it and say, nurse, hold that. Oh, but same principle. He had a bunch of people. He had somebody there to, pinch off a fucking vein, an artery, whatever, while he got some fucking clamps handy to clamp it off before they sewed it up and all that bullshit. But out in their real life, they don't have all that stuff, and they didn't bring anything.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're getting to doctor NPCs. Let's go back to combat medic NPCs.
But yeah, it's this perspective. Like, even the simple thing of resetting the tourniquet after you practice with it. I did not learn that in the Marine Corps, right? And I did combat lifesaver a few times. I used to think that cat tourniquets sucked because I was undertrained. I was never taught how to reset my tourniquet. Also, like, we would say it goes self aid, then buddy aid, and then corpsman aid, right? And then the hospital after that. We would say that, but we maybe practice tourniquets a few times. And like on ourselves, that is.
Yeah.
On each other all the time. Like, we got really good at that. I will say that. But
the reality is you should have been issued a training tourniquet to use all the time. Yes. Take this home with you. And, when you go back to the barracks, you and your buddies can have drunk tourniquet games.
Yes. Like, it should have been a thing that was just like, you should have had a practice and a go time one. Like,
yes,
everywhere you went. Like, that should have been no, put that on you, But so, like, even just resetting the tourniquet is a thing that I have shown EMTs, paramedics, cops, veterans. None of them ever heard of it. And, and that's just the way it is. But there's a perspective out there that if they do this job, and this is where, like, the word professional, it should mean something. Like, when Sonny says it, right? Professional means like you're really fucking good, basically. Yeah. It's like you can do it without effort, the thing. But it's kind of become where the word professional has lost its meaning, and it just simply means that they get paid to do it. Doesn't mean that they're good at it.
Right.
But
I've gotten paid to do a lot of shit I wasn't good at.
But the perspective is that they're good at it. And so that's like a thing where, I've had prospective students. Like, one phone call I had was like, he was asking about pistol class, and he goes, well, what's your background? I'm like, well, I started off Marine Corps infantry. He said, say no more. And I went, okay, please let me continue for my own sake. And I was like,
I thought maybe he was going to say, you motherfuckers shoot like shit, and hung up on you.
I hope someone in the chat praying phone calls me that sometime. But it's like, No, dude, like we didn't even learn. Like I shot one mag of pistol ammo in 4 years in the Marine Corps. As far as what they did, I had my own gun, and I missed a shit ton with that too, but not that much because I had bought a 45 and that was expensive to miss with.
Indeed.
But yeah, I'll probably have more ideas with this conversation, and I think you will too. So it's a thing I'd like to revisit for everyone watching. But we should let Garry go on the road because you are on your way to Texas. And what are you doing in Texas?
I'm leaving. Let's see, what is it? Almost 9 o'clock. So I'm leaving in 7 hours after I take a 6.5 hour nap. Going to Paducah, Texas, and doing dynamic pistol, day 3 pistol, smash mouth pistol, which is essentially day 4 pistol, has a little force on force in it, and a low light pistol workshop back to back. I guess.
How long are you gonna be in Texas for then?
Class starts Thursday, runs through Sunday.
Right on.
And then Monday, I'm going to go visit excess sites. And then I'm going to start working my way back east and north and be back here for Fish 2 the following weekend up in Scranton. And I thought about Sonny's fucking t-shirt idea that he put in the chat, which is awesome. When I read it, my dyslexia, it kicked in, and I read there's no I in team, and he wrote that there's no team in I. And I was like, fuck. I was like, that's a t-shirt. And while I was thinking it, he wrote that idea has been taken for a t-shirt. I was like, fuck, I didn't even steal it fast enough. But it did make me think it would be a great slogan for Fish. Because Fish is my fighting in someone's house class. I don't call it CQB because there's a doctrine for CQB. And Fish, it was built around the idea of fighting inside a house when you're alone. And then we added a person to it. You can add more people to it to get up to the military CQB style. But military CQB doctrine says, if you got less than 4, don't ever fucking do it. And I was like, yeah, that only works until you're in your house alone. And so are the bad guys. And you don't have the option to not fucking do it. So we built the class backwards. But my point is, his shirt with there's no team in I was like, that would be great. And then below that, it say, but there is one in Fish. And so if you ever hear me say it, I will give props to Sonny and put a link to his t-shirt on when I say it out loud. And right somebody wanted you to put his quote on the screen. Sam Russell. I don't think I know Sam.
Sam's a good dude.
His name doesn't ring a bell, but I suck with names. So for all I know,
Sonny's comment on the fucking screen. All right. I think he's referring to this one.
The one where there's no team in I. No.
No, it would be one above that.
Oh yeah, the wrong direction.
Comment on the screen. Oh, well, I attempted to read that out loud already, so people know that one. Shut it the fuck up, Sam.
Fucking Sam. There's always a Sam somewhere causing problems. It's not Uncle Sam. It's some other Sam.
This is true. All right, guys. So, TREMISdynamics.com, Facebook, YouTube, live streams Wednesday nights generally.
Not this coming Wednesday because I'll still be driving somewhere between Tennessee and Texas on Wednesday, so I won't be doing one. That's assuming the world doesn't implode after Election Tuesday, so maybe I'll be fighting my way back to PA instead. Who knows?
Well, if you have to fight your way to Florida, we got a place for you. So, all right, and also, guys, Garry's signature holster is my favorite.
Mine too.
I'm about to drop a video on it. We just got Ashley's SIG 365, and so now I can do footage on that one and mine. She was like, "Oh, sweet! Now I can call Glock users poor."
Yes, the pores.
But so check out that holster. Check out his website. Get some training with TREMIS Dynamics. Pretty jealous that a bunch of dudes are gonna get to do several days with you, because I fucking loved dynamic pistol and dynamic carbine, and the science of dynamic violence. That was fucking awesome. Big learning happens in his classes. They're not like all the other classes that you go to. There are some things in there that I totally changed the way I do stuff after I learned. And
That's a pretty high compliment. Thank you.
yeah, like and now there's stuff I've put in my classes that come from that. And now even just in Gunfight Club, like there's like bigger learning happening, you know, beyond the basics that everyone wants to be brilliant in. So that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. Keep fighting.